When this boy woke up after a 5-year coma, everyone was overjoyed. But the moment he saw his mother, he screamed and begged her to leave. Then he told the doctor something terrifying about her. Michael and Rebecca were a loving and devoted couple. They had built a peaceful and happy home together. But their world turned upside down when their son Noah suddenly fell ill. It started with severe headaches, sleepless nights, and extreme fatigue. A few days later, his condition worsened, and his parents rushed him to St. Joseph's Children's Hospital in Chicago. After multiple tests, doctors diagnosed Noah with encephalitis, an inflammation of the brain tissue caused by an infection or an autoimmune reaction. Despite receiving top-tier medical care, his condition continued to deteriorate. Before long, he lost mobility. Days turned into weeks, and his health kept declining until he fell into a coma. Michael and Rebecca were devastated. All they could do was sit by his bedside, powerless as their son lay unresponsive. Rebecca couldn't comprehend why such a terrible fate had befallen her child. Noah had been a vibrant, healthy boy, and now he was in a coma with little hope of waking up. The emotional toll on her was unbearable. She lost weight, lost interest in her favorite activities, and spiraled into depression. Michael, however, refused to give up. He tirelessly consulted doctors and specialists, searching for a cure. But despite all his efforts, the doctors had grim news. Noah might never wake up. One day, they called Michael and Rebecca into a private office. "I'm sorry," the neurologist said. "At this point, there's nothing more we can do. You should consider taking him home and preparing for the worst." That crushing moment, the sheer helplessness of realizing you can't save someone you love, broke their hearts. But despite the bleak prognosis, Michael refused to let go of hope. They brought Noah home and cared for him day and night. 5 years passed. He turned 12, still trapped in his unconscious state. Could he ever recover? No one knew. Michael never stopped believing. Every morning, he sat by Noah's bedside, stroking his hair and whispering, "Son, if you can hear me, keep fighting. We need you. We love you." But Rebecca? She wasn't as strong. The years of grief and despair had consumed her. She lost her job, isolated herself, and grew increasingly bitter. She lashed out at Michael, blaming him, blaming fate, blaming everything. One evening, during yet another argument, Michael snapped. "You need to pull yourself together," he shouted. "You're not the woman I married. When was the last time we even talked? When did we last eat together?" Rebecca's face twisted in pain. "Of course I've changed. What do you expect when our son has been in a coma for 5 years? I hate this life. I hate everything about it," she screamed. Once they had been the perfect couple. They had laughed, danced, and dreamed together. But now, all they did was fight. Rebecca began to resent Noah. She saw his illness as the reason their happiness had disappeared. Every day, she watched Michael sit by his bedside, whispering hopeful words, but she could no longer share his optimism. The weight of Noah's condition was suffocating her, making every moment at home unbearable. "Why won't he just wake up?" she cried one night, her voice breaking. "Doesn't he know how much it hurts to wait and wait and wait? How much it's destroying me? How much it's tearing us apart?" She paced the room, her chest heaving, as dark thoughts crept into her mind. Maybe it would be easier if... She stopped herself before finishing the thought, ashamed of what she had nearly said. But deep down, she couldn't deny it. She felt trapped, consumed by an anger she didn't understand. Each passing day only made it worse. She began avoiding Noah's room, refusing to even glance in his direction. The pain was too much to bear. "I don't know how much longer I can do this, Michael," she whispered one night. I don't know who I am anymore." One night, overwhelmed by frustration, Rebecca walked into Noah's room. She stood over him, staring at his motionless body, and let out words she would later regret for the rest of her life. She stormed back to her room, fell to the floor, and sobbed. That night, despair consumed her so completely that she attempted to take her own life. Michael found her just in time. Holding her trembling hands, he pleaded, "Please don't do this. We need to keep fighting. Noah needs us." Seeing no other option, Michael admitted Rebecca to a mental health facility. There, she received the help she so desperately needed. Therapy gave her the strength to heal, and in time she became more stable. She found a new job and worked hard to rebuild her life. Determined to provide the best care for Noah, they hired a compassionate nurse named Angela. She treated Noah like her own child, speaking to him as if he could hear every word. Months later, something incredible happened. One afternoon, while Angela was cleaning his room, she heard a faint sound. "Hello," she called out, but no one answered. Then she heard it again, a soft moan. She turned toward Noah, and for the first time in 5 years, his lips moved. Heart pounding, she ran to his side. Noah's eyelids fluttered, and for a split second, he opened his eyes before closing them again. Angela screamed for joy. She had just witnessed a miracle. The moment Michael and Rebecca arrived home, Angela shared the incredible news. They rushed to Noah's room, breathless with anticipation. "Noah, are you awake?" Rebecca whispered, her voice shaking. His eyelids lifted slightly, his unfocused gaze landing on his mother before he drifted back into unconsciousness. Wasting no time, they rushed him back to St. Joseph's Hospital. The doctors stabilized him, providing IV fluids and medical support. Over the next few weeks, Noah's condition improved dramatically. He could move, respond, and, finally, speak. But then, something shocking happened. The moment he saw Rebecca, his face twisted in fear. He let out a piercing scream. "Get her away from me," he cried. Rebecca froze in horror. "Noah, it's me, it's Mommy." But Noah only screamed louder. "No, leave, go away." Michael grabbed his wife, pulling her back as Noah sobbed hysterically. Rebecca stood in shock as her son rejected her, his eyes filled with something she never expected, fear. Left alone with the doctor, Noah finally spoke the truth. "My mom hates me," he whispered, "and now I hate her too." The doctor hesitated, observing the pain in Noah's young eyes. "Noah, can you tell me why you feel this way?" he asked gently. Noah swallowed hard, his fingers gripping the hospital blanket. "She wanted me gone," he murmured. "She said things that hurt." His voice trembled as memory surfaced. "I could hear everything when I was in the coma. I couldn't move, couldn't speak, but I heard it all. I heard her say she wished I would just wake up or disappear." Tears welled in the doctor's eyes. "That must have been so painful, Noah. But do you think maybe your mom was just lost in her own pain?" Noah shook his head. "I don't know, maybe, but it doesn't change how it felt." Meanwhile, outside the hospital room, Rebecca stood frozen, her face buried in her hands as she wept. "I never meant those words. I never meant to hurt him," she sobbed to Michael. "I was drowning in my own despair." Michael wrapped an arm around her. "Then you need to tell him that." Overcome with guilt, she couldn't even look her son in the eyes. Every morning, she sent him handmade cards that simply said, "I'm sorry." For an entire week, Noah ignored them. Then one day, Rebecca walked into his hospital room. Tears welled up as she knelt beside him. "Noah, I don't deserve your forgiveness," she whispered. "But if you can find it in your heart, please. I am so sorry." Michael added gently, "Your mom never meant those words, Noah. She was lost in pain, but she has always loved you." Noah hesitated, watching the sincerity in her eyes. His own eyes filled with tears. "Mom, I was so scared," he admitted. "I thought you didn't want me anymore." Rebecca choked back a sob and reached for his hand. "I never stopped loving you. I was just so lost. And I am so sorry." After a long silence, Noah squeezed her hand. "Mom, I forgive you." Tears streamed down Rebecca's face as she hugged her son for the first time in years. A month later, Noah was discharged. Though still in a wheelchair, doctors assured him he would soon regain his ability to walk. With unwavering support from his parents, Noah began his journey toward full recovery. And for the first time in years, they were a family again. Dear viewers, what do you think of this story? Share your thoughts in the comments, and if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. See you next time.